Hello everyone, welcome to Amrita IAS Academy. My name is Sivi Joy, and as part of our trend analysis series, in this video we'll be discussing about the UPSC GS Mains trend analysis of 2018 to 2020, the Ethics, Integrity and Aptitude paper, or more commonly known as the GS4 paper. So with regards to the GS4 paper, one must realize that the GS4 paper is for 250 marks, and it is one of those papers which can be highly scoring and rewarding when you compare it with the rest of the papers. Because when you compare to the rest of the papers, you realize that the GS4 paper is quite smaller in the size of its syllabus, and the questions asked from the GS4 paper are rather straightforward. At the same time, it is crucial that one must prepare specifically for the GS4 paper, because unlike the other papers which have its relation with the prelims examination, the GS4 paper or the ethics paper is mainly a standalone paper from the mains point of view. So while preparing for the mains exam and while preparing for the GS4 paper, one should be very clear about how you are supposed to prepare, what is the marks that is being asked in this paper, what is the syllabus, and how the questions have been asked over the years. Not only that, after all this trend analysis, one must also have an idea of what to read, how to read, and where one can get their online resources, or where they can get their book resources from, because this is very crucial to understand and score well in your GS4 paper. So without any delay, we'll go into the video. So first thing, with regards to the analysis of the marks of the GS4 paper over the past 8 years. So if you look at it, there are two parts to the GS4 paper. One is the theory part and the other is the case studies part. And inside this, in 2013 it's been 125, here it's been 125, then it's 120, 130 and 120, then opposite 120 and 130, then again 2016 it's 120 and 130, then over all this period it has remained consistent. The theory part of ethics has come from, or there are 130 marks for the theory part of ethics, and for the case studies part there are always 120 marks. So keeping this idea in mind, we can be sure that there is going to be an almost even divide between the theory questions and the case study questions, or the marks allotment between the theory questions and the case study questions is going to be almost equal. That's the first part one should be aware of, because unless and until you know how the marks are divided, you won't be able to give proper time or proper preparation for the rest of the paper. Because once you know it's for this many marks, you will spend the required time necessity for preparing for this paper. So that is done on one side. The second thing we should be aware about after the mark analysis done is the syllabus. So the ethics syllabus, unlike the other syllabus of GS1, 2 and 3, has 8 topics, whereas GS1 has 12 topics, GS2 has 20 topics, and GS3 has 20 topics. GS4 has 8 topics, and each topic has its own subtopics. So it goes like this: ethics and human interface, essence, determinants and consequences of ethics in human action, dimensions of ethics, ethics in private and public relation, human values, lessons from the lives and teachings of great leaders, reformers, administrators, role of family, society and educational institutions in inculcating values. Now, unlike the other syllabus of other papers like GS1, 2 and 3, which can be quite easily understood just by reading the syllabus itself, here it asks the aspirant to understand about the core theory of ethics. So the first topic is ethics and human interface, and they ask you to learn about the essence, determinants and the consequences of ethics in human actions. Not only that, it asks about the dimensions, the ethics in private and public relationships. It also talks about a different topic known as human values, lessons from the lives and teachings of great leaders and reformers, administrators, and the role of family, society and educational institutions in inculcating values. So it's a quite unique syllabus when you compare it with the rest of the GS1, 2 and 3. Let's look at topic number 2. It talks about attitude, content, structure, function, influence and relation with thought and behavior, moral and political attitude, social influence and persuasion. In short, again, it takes a specific topic, which is attitude in this case, and then asks the person to know about its content, structure, function, influence, relation, and also some allied topics like social influence and persuasion. Okay, the next topic, Aptitude and foundational values for civil services. What is aptitude and what are the foundational values for civil services? Note these values. They've asked questions on that. That is aptitude and foundational values: integrity, impartiality, non-partisanship, objectivity, dedication to public service, empathy, tolerance, compassion towards the weaker sections. Fourth topic, emotional intelligence, concepts and their utilities and their application, administration and governance. So over all these 4 topics that we've seen, everything has its own main heading followed by the content inside it. If you look at the next, contribution of moral thinkers and philosophers from India and the world, public civil service values and ethics in public administration, status and problems, ethical concerns and dilemmas in government and private institutions, laws, rules, regulations, and conscience as sources of ethical guidance, accountability and ethical governance, strengthening of ethical moral values in governance, ethical issues in international relations funding, corporate governance. So if you look at topic number 6, unlike the earlier topics, it has some kind of relation with GS3's governance topic. Topic number 7, probity in governance, concept of public service, philosophical base of governance and probity, information sharing and transparency in government, RTI, code of ethics, code of conduct, citizen charter, work culture, quality of service delivery, utilization of public funds, and challenges of corruption. In short, this topic is very similar to the governance topic that one will be preparing for GS2. And finally, as the last topic in the syllabus, we have case studies on above issues. So learning at all this, looking at all these videos or looking at all these slides, one has an understanding that the syllabus, unlike the GS 1, 2 and 3 syllabus, is a mix and match of both theoretical and metaphysical concepts like ethics, values, attitude, aptitude, certain values, foundational values like non-partisanship, objectivity, integrity, impartiality. Along with that, it also talks about the idea or the concept of emotional intelligence, while at the same time it talks about ethics in public administration, the form of public civil service values, probity in governance, etc., etc. Case studies, we will be discussing it later, because unlike the first 7 topics, case studies are completely different, because questions from the first 7 topics are going to be theoretical questions, and the questions from the case studies are going to be situations or scenarios where the aspirant is expected to write an answer based upon the conditions given in that case study. So without any delay, I'll go into the question so that we can have a better understanding. But before going for that, one must know, so what can I read? What should I read? Is this the right book? Is this the wrong book? There are different questions that comes to mind. So reference books, I won't say that ethics has one reference book or many reference books. I would say, since we have a paucity of time with regards to preparing for civil services exam, and since we are not here to learn about ethics in general, I would say this book, A Practical Approach to Ethics, Integrity and Aptitude by D.K. Balaji, is a very good book for the initial reader to understand about the concept of ethics for the civil services examination. For the civil services examination. If one wants to know more about ethics, there are definitely other books which are very much useful. Secondly, the Lexicon for Ethics, Integrity and Aptitude, the ethics lexicon is also good. Again, it is meant for the civil services examination. You can definitely use these 2 books as reference books. Apart from that, you can look at online sources, you can do a Google search, you can look at all those university websites which will give you better definitions, good quality definitions, academic definitions. You can always use that. So you get the major theory part from these sources. Apart from that, what about examples? What about case studies? You can get that from other points. So for those things, you can look at newspapers and articles. The newspaper and articles will give you examples which you can use to substantiate your answer in the theory part. You can find examples, so many examples of people who have behaved, who are considered to be examples of integrity, honesty, compassion. Let's take certain examples. We have the example of Anna Hazare for an anti-corruption stand. Anna Hazare is a well-known personality you can use for your anti-corruption answers. You can also use the examples of with regards to citizen charter or code of conduct or rules and regulations, you can use Gandhi's Sarvodaya concept. So many different examples. Everything is available in newspaper. Take contemporary examples of civil servants who achieved something in life, or civil servants who've done something beyond the line of duty to make sure that the public is served properly, to make sure the welfare of the public is taken care of. You can take the examples of the civil servants during the floods of Kerala, during the disasters that struck during the monsoon in the state of Himachal. All this can be taken as examples, and you can write these examples, you can bring these examples in your answers, especially for the theory part. So this is how you should be utilizing the practical approach to ethics, integrity and aptitude, and the lexicon for the content part. You can always use online sources and newspaper and articles to get some good examples in the online part too. Okay, so once the reference part is done, we can go for the questions. With regards to the questions that have come over the past 8 years, we'll begin off with the 2020 questions of ethics. So the first question with regards to again ethics is, you need to understand before going for the questions, we've divided the syllabus into 3 parts. Like the official syllabus is for 8 parts, but for ease of understanding, we are divided into philosophy, behavioral ethics and administrative ethics. We'll look into it soon, but let's go with the question. Discuss the role of ethics and values in enhancing the following 3 major components of comprehensive national power, or CNP, that is human capital, soft power, culture and policies, and social harmony. So talking about this, you need to realize generally in ethics they ask with regards to the syllabus directly or specifically. And even in this question, they've asked with regards to syllabus, but they've added a component known as CNP. And to make sure that the aspirant is aware of what it is, they mention what is CNP. Okay. Again, look at how this question is. Role of ethics, values. It's a theory part. Look at the syllabus. Syllabus topic number 1. This is also syllabus topic number 1. If you have the ethics syllabus, you will see that the ethics and human interface has dimensions of ethics, essence of ethics, and human values also as part of it. So it's also this, both of them fall under the same topic. So role of ethics and values, which is the major theme of the question, is asked directly from the syllabus, and they've asked its role in CNP. And what is CNP? They said human capital, soft power, social harmony. So in short, all you need to do is role of ethics in CNP, role of values in CNP. That's all you have to say, and your answer is done for this. You have to write for 150 words. It's a 10-mark question, and unlike the usual questions, this year they asked just 2 questions based on a little bit of current affair. That's why we can say this is a current affair question. In general, ethics is purely based on static part of the syllabus. Okay, let's go for the next question. Education is not an injunction. It is an effective and pervasive tool for all-round development of an individual and social transformation. Examine the NEP in light of the above statement. Okay, the key term is NEP and education. If you look at the syllabus, role of educational institutions, family and society in inculcating values. Instead of just values, they've asked with regards to the NEP. So generally, if you have prepared with regards to the syllabus directly, you have the content already. You just have to change the end goal. From instead of values, you have to learn it in the context of NEP. And those who prepare for the 2020 mains, they generally know that NEP was a current affair and they've learnt about it. So it's quite easy answer to attend. It's a straightforward question. In ethics, the greatest advantage is that there's no twist. It's rather straightforward. You know it, you identify it, you write the answer. You're good to go. That's how the second question is. Let's go for the third question. Hatred is destructive of a person's wisdom and conscience that can poison a nation's spirit. Do you agree with this view? Justify your answer. This is a quote-based question. They've given a quote. Now, unlike the other things, education, ethics, values, which was directly present inside the syllabus as such, how do you identify a quote? With regards to identifying a quote, you need to find out which part of the syllabus it is talking about. So this is talking about a negative value known as hatred. It's talking about a negative value known as hatred. So you can, generally when they're talking about values as such and it's a negative value, again come to the first part of the syllabus, ethics and human interface, which also has values as part of it. Ethics and human interface, essence, determinants, consequences. And they say as a consequence, you can poison a nation's spirit. Quite easy. It's quite easy to write an answer provided you identify which part of the syllabus it is coming from. You need content. So you cannot predict this kinds of question. Can you predict all the questions which come in mains? Definitely not. But you have a syllabus, you prepare the content for the syllabus that is available to you, and you prepare well, and you're good to go. That's all that matters. You prepare well on that content, you're good to go. And that is very important while preparing for this. So the next question is, sir, how do I remember all the syllabus topics, the 7 topics? Yes, I understand it's quite difficult. What you do is you club them together. So there has been a clubbing of topics. You've noticed these terms, I believe. Philosophy, behavioral ethics. There's another topic known as administrative ethics. So for ease of understanding, you can club, take your syllabus, topic number 1 and topic number 5. They come under philosophy. Topic number 2, topic number 3, topic number 4. They come under behavioral ethics. Topic number 6 and 7, they come under administrative ethics. Topic number 1 and 5 talk about the philosophy of ethics, its origin, its determinants, contribution of various leaders, reformers, administrators to the idea of ethics. That's what topic number 1 and 5 says. So that's why we are going to consider that to be a part of philosophy. Behavioral ethics is with regards to how a person's behavior is influenced. So the topic of attitude, it talks about the behavior, attitude, aptitude, foundational values, emotional intelligence. That's why it's considered to be as behavioral ethics. Then finally, administrative ethics, ethics in public administration, probity in governance, all that comes as part of administrative ethics. That's why we separate it into 3 parts. So once your syllabus is ready, club them together under these 3 headings, and the moment you identify it. So you look at this question, hatred is destructive of a person's wisdom and conscience. Immediately you can say that, okay, this is not a part of administrative ethics. It's either a part of philosophy or it's a part of, it's either a part of philosophy or it's a part of behavioral ethics. Once you identify that, then it's easy to find the syllabus, which part of the syllabus you should be looking into. So it's talking about a value and it's talking about a negative value. So you can go for the first topic, which is the philosophy. Okay. Look at the next question. What are the main components of emotional intelligence? Can they be learnt? Discuss. Straightforward question. Emotional intelligence, topic number 4 in your ethics syllabus. So it's a part of behavioral ethics. It's mentioned in the syllabus. Emotional intelligence, concepts and their utilities, applications in administration and governance. Topic number 4 of your ethics syllabus. Straightforward question. You write it, you get your answer. What teachings of Buddha are most relevant today and why? Contribution of moral thinkers and philosophers. Role of, you can take again topic number 1, which has the heading role of, lessons from the lives and teachings of great leaders, reformers and administrators. That is also there. Contributions of moral thinkers and philosophers from India and the world. Topic number 5 of your ethics syllabus. Topic number 1, topic number 5. In short, philosophy part of your syllabus. This is just the first 5 questions, and we found 4 questions are from philosophy in 2020 question paper. Let's look at the next 5 questions. The will to power exists, but it can be tamed and be guided by rationality and principles of moral duty. Examine the statement in the context of international relations. So it's a code-based question. So definitely you have to identify the value mentioned inside it. But they mention you have to examine it in the context of international relations. Again, we have a topic which has ethical issues in international relation, part of administrative ethics. Topic number 6 in your syllabus. Topic number 6 in your syllabus. So again, you find the keyword, you identify the theme, you go for it. So there's a value, the will to power exists but can be tamed and guided by rationality and principles. Yes, identifying the topic from the syllabus itself gets you the content necessary to learn. Because unlike other papers like GS2, GS3, where the syllabus is First vast, and the content required inside it is even more vast. GS4, the content required is very static. You just have to identify the syllabus topic as such. I guarantee you that you will have the content prepared if you are preparing sincerely for the mains exam. Okay. Look at the next question. Distinguish between laws and rules. Role of ethics in formulating them. Laws, rules. Topic number 6, again, laws, rules, regulations and conscience as sources of ethical guidance. Topic number 6, again, directly taken from the syllabus. You can sit there, you can just study, you can just have to prepare on the syllabus, and I can guarantee you 90% of the questions you can attend directly, straightforward. Nothing fancy. All you have to do is work on your examples a little bit more, and you are guaranteed a minimum safe score of 90 plus. Just the minimum definitions and examples you will get 90 plus. And the extra work that you have to put in is for that extra marks. Okay. Next question. A positive attitude is considered to be an essential characteristic of a civil servant who is often required to function under stress. What contributes a positive attitude in a person? So, since it talks about a civil servant as such, you can talk about the foundational values of civil service. There's also the topic of attitude. So it's both administrative ethics and philosophy. Topic number 2 and topic number 6. Both are required. There's a topic known as dedication to public service. Topic number 2, topic number 6. Attitude and also foundational values of civil service. Next, what are the main factors responsible for gender responsibility in India? Discuss the contribution of Savitribai Phule in this regard. So again, contribution by great leaders. Lessons from the lives and teachings of great leaders, reformers and administrators. Topic number 1 or topic number 5. Again, a question from the philosophy part of your syllabus. 10th question, current internet expansion has instilled a different set of cultural values which are in conflict with traditional values. So, the keyword is values, but are they talking about values as such directly? No, they are saying generally values. They are not talking about any specific value. They are saying that the values that are present because of the internet or the internet culture has brought about a different set of values than the earlier set of values. So, there has been a change in attitude. There has been a change in attitude, and once there is a change in attitude, you have a topic known as attitude, topic number 2, and you have that as part of behavioral ethics because it involves the behavior of a person. Each and every topic that has been asked has its own keywords, values, or in this case we can take attitude as such. We can consider all this as we can take all these values just as it is and just learn with regards to the syllabus. I can guarantee you that you will know what to learn and what not to learn. But based on the trend, I can say definitively that in the 2020 question paper, there has been a large chunk of questions has been towards the philosophy part. But over the years, it has kept changing to and fro. So 2020 was more towards the philosophy. We'll just look at a few more questions. Condemn none. If you can stretch out a helping hand, do so. If not, fold your hands, bless your brothers and let them go their own way. Swami Vivekananda's quote. So, it's a quote-based question. Identify. It talks about how you can be compassionate, how you can help them out. Okay. So, it's a value. There is human values. Also, Swami Vivekananda is a great thinker, philosopher. We will be learning about him as part of the ethics. So, contribution of moral thinkers and philosophers, lessons from the lives and teachings of great leaders. Again, directly taken. Best way to find yourself is to lose yourself in service of others. Mahatma Gandhi. Again, human values, lessons from lives, contribution of moral thinkers. System of morality which is based on relative emotional values is a mere illusion, a thoroughly vulgar conception which has nothing sound in it and nothing true. Again, written by Socrates. contribution, lessons from lives and teachings of great leaders, contribution of moral thinkers. In short, of the 13 theory questions that have been asked, everything has been on the basis of philosophy. Almost the majority of the questions has been on basis of philosophy. Few questions on behavioral ethics and administrative ethics as such. This is how the theory part of the 2020 question paper has been. Let's look at the case studies as such. I won't read the entire case studies because it's a bit too big. If you look at it, it talks about the ethical issues. They ask specifically about what are the ethical issues involved in reappropriation, discuss the options available. Okay, and they also ask specifically is resigning a worthy option. So in short, there are 3 questions being asked under the case study as such. You should be preparing for these things. One is ethical issue, the other is options, third is resigning. Let's look at the next case study. Again, it talks about the Charno Bharat missiles and with regards to weapons or arms and ammunition sale. Again, the question is, what are the ethical issues involved? List 5 ethical factors. Ethical issues, that was asked in the previous case study too. 2 questions have been asked. The third case study, identify the ethical issues. Specifically, they are asking the ethical issues. Specific steps you will initiate to ameliorate the condition and improve the overall economic scenario. So again, there are 3 questions being asked. 3 questions being asked. And one is again an ethical issue. Go for the next case study. Discuss the ethical issues. Discuss the ethical issues. What are the options available? Explain your selected course of action. Again, 3 questions. Ethical issues, options available, and selected course of action. It goes like that. 18th question. Analyze the story. Analysis is asked. State the ethical issues. Consider this as a APW as a role model and give reasons. 4 questions. Analysis, critical analysis. State the ethical issues. Do you consider that to be a role model, and if so, give reasons, if or for not. 3 or 4 questions depending upon how you write it. At minimum 3 or 4 questions. Case studies also have a pattern where they have been asking ethical issues consistently over and over and over in 2020 question paper. The last case study of 2020, in your opinion, what ethical issues arose? Again, the question is on ethical issues. What do you understand by ethical caregiving state? What assistance can the civil society render? 3 questions. One is again ethical issues. So prepare on that. This is how this is being asked for the past 1 year. So the last year prelims had a very specific pattern where the theory part was focused towards the philosophy part of the syllabus, and whatever questions were asked were highly focused on the syllabus, and the case studies had like 2 or 3 questions always. Few of them had options, all of them had ethical issues as a question. So plan for that, prepare for that. Let's look at 2019 questions. So the first question of 2019, basic principles of public life, illustrate any of these 3 with suitable examples. So a theory part of question, public life. So you can talk about the basic principles of foundational values of civil service. Topic number 3 comes under administrative. It comes under administrative ethics, but more importantly, it also comes under behavioral ethics. But since it talks about the public servant, you can consider it to be a part of foundational values, which is topic number 3 and also topic number 6. Topic number 6 also talks about the public civil service values. So you can go like that. What do you understand by the term public servant? Expected role of public servant. Same topic, concept of probity in governance, concept of public service. Along with this, topic number 7. Topic number 7 has been added to this. Next question, effective utilization of public funds. The term, take the keyword, utilization of public funds, administrative ethics. Topic number 7. It's again a part of your syllabus. Crucial to meet development goals, critically examine the reasons for underutilization and misutilization. So if you are prepared on this just topic like utilization of public funds, you would have the necessary content for it. This is not something you have to sit and write and create at that time, because in an ethics paper, time is the most valuable thing you can have inside that exam hall. So to save time, all you can do is you can prepare well on the syllabus, so that when the time for the question comes, you have rock solid facts in your hand and you can just write it and get the marks directly. Don't have to waste time trying to create an answer, because the content is already inside your head. Okay? Next question. Non-performance of duty by a public servant is a form of corruption. Do you agree with this view? Justify your answer. Take the keyword corruption. Challenges of corruption. Administrative ethics. Topic number 7. Probity in governance. So in 2019 question, there has been an immense weightage given to administrative ethics. What is meant by the term constitutional morality? How does one uphold constitutional morality? Again, it comes to public civil service values, morality, or laws, rules, regulations as conscience as sources of ethical guidance. You can moral values in governance. Constitutional morality talks about how the constitution is used as a guideline to follow your morals, or the constitutional morality, or what the constitution demands from a civil servant. The understanding of that is very important. Again, comes under administrative ethics, because the constitution is automatically comes under administrative ethics. You can take these laws, rules, regulation, conscience. Automatically the constitution is part of law, or the law is part of the constitution, and you can definitely use that too. So in short, again a part of the syllabus. It is not just I am talking about how it's a part of the syllabus, but I want you to understand how they are asking the questions. Word by word, the key terms. Sometimes the key terms are directly from the syllabus. You don't have to sit, brainstorm or do anything. You identify the key term, you know the syllabus, you know the answer. Because once you know the syllabus, it is quite common that you would have prepared well on your syllabus. You can just apply the content, you get your answer. Go for next slide. Question number 6. What is meant by crisis of conscience? How does it manifest itself in the public domain? Crisis of conscience. Emotional intelligence is something you can do, and how it is applied in administration and governance. You can talk about how a crisis of conscience, it creates ethical dilemmas inside oneself, and you can overcome that by emotional intelligence. Or you can write it in a different manner too. You can talk about how you can overcome ethical dilemmas, which are a different topic, but club it together, you can find the ideal solution to be emotional intelligence. Okay, so it's a part of behavioral ethics. Basic principles of citizen charter movement and bring out its importance. Question number 7 of the 2019 question paper. Take citizen charter, take topic number 7 of your ethics syllabus, probity in governance. You have citizen charter directly inside it. There is a view that the Official Secrets Act is an obstacle to the implementation of RTI. RTI is again asked in topic number 7. Information sharing and transparency, RTI. Again topic number 7. Question number 9. What do you understand by the term probity in governance? That's the main heading of topic number 7, probity in governance. Straightforward. Questions on administrative ethics again, administrative ethics again, administrative ethics again. Last question. Emotional intelligence is the ability to make your emotions work for you instead of against you. Do you agree with this view? Discuss. Again, emotional intelligence, topic number 4, behavioral ethics. Identify the keyword, you have it inside your syllabus. So all you have to do for this is prepare on your syllabus. So I know that everyone says prepare on your syllabus, but unlike GS 1, 2, 3, this is rather straightforward. You just have to prepare well on the notes of your syllabus, you have the answer inside you. And over the years, the questions have remained same. This is the latest, 2020 and 2019. The keywords are taken directly from the syllabus. You don't even have to sit there brainstorming. It's rather straightforward. Learn the syllabus, you got the answer. But 2020, it was highly focused on philosophy. 2019, it's highly focused on administrative ethics. Then there are always 3 code-based questions, and most of them will come from the philosophy part. Okay? What do each of the following quotations mean to you? An unexamined life is not worth living. and a man is but a product of his thoughts. What he thinks, he becomes. So it all comes under the same thing. Philosophy, where there is righteousness in heart, there is beauty in character. When there is beauty in character, there is harmony in home. When there is harmony in the home, there is order in the nation. When there is order in the nation, there is peace in the world. Quote by Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam. Socrates, Gandhi, APJ Abdul Kalam. Contribution of moral thinkers and philosophers from around the world. Then lessons from the lives and teachings of great leaders, reformers and administrators. 3 questions. The last 3 questions are guaranteed to be questions from philosophy. So I can guarantee you 3 questions from philosophy. I can also guarantee you a few questions from administrative and behavioral ethics. So in short, of the 7 topics in your ethics paper, in your ethics syllabus, please learn each and every one of them. You will get guaranteed questions, and once you know that there is going to be a guaranteed question from that, it's easy to score marks because you know what to do, you know what to prepare, and you got it. So the trend shows it like this. Look at the case study. What will be your response? Examine the qualities of a public servant. It talks about the qualities of a public servant and which will be required to manage the situation. Here does not talk about the ethical issues as such. Does not ask about the ethical issues as such. It talks about the response needed and what are the qualities of a public servant. What are the qualities of a public servant? You have to go back to your foundational civil service values of your administrative ethics and also of your behavioral ethics. Topic number 6 talks about the public civil service values, and topic number 3 of your ethics syllabus talks about the foundational values of civil service. Know both of that, you have your required content. Okay, go for next question. Next question with regards to case study. How does this trend affect the functioning of civil service? What measures can be taken to ensure that honest civil servants are not implicated? 2 questions have been asked, and one is again with regards to the civil service. The previous one was with regards to public servant. Both form a part of administrative ethics. Look at the next case study. Identify the ethical issues. It talks about the ethical issues. Then what are the options available? Ethical issues is also being asked. Also asked about the options available. 2020 we also saw all questions had ethical issues and few questions had questions about options available. Here it's not been like that. It's a bit different, but still it is still there. Here, consequences of politicization of bureaucracy. It's a bit different case study in 2019. Talks about the politicization of bureaucracy. Question number 17. Dimensions of the crisis. Based on your understanding, suggest measures to deal with the crisis. The difference in 2019 is it has always focused upon the general topic, that is administrative ethics. Here also it's been kind of administrative ethics. It talks about how in the administration there's problem. Corruption. This talks about how a system is in the verge of corruption. Okay. So in short, almost all the case studies were based on administrative ethics, whereas the previous one always had questions on ethical issues or philosophy part. Go for the next thing. There's been increasing concern to develop effective civil service codes, code of conduct, transparency, measures, ethics, integrity systems. And they've asked about what you mean by ethical standards, integrity in civil service, strengthening the ethical competence. And they want to do all this and suggest institutional measures to address the above 3 issues. In short, they are asking about administrative ethics. 2019 was on administrative ethics, 2020 was on philosophy. The only thing left is behavioral ethics. Maybe 2021 can be on behavioral ethics. Let's go for the next question. So 2018 question paper, first state the 3 basic values, universal in nature in the context of civil service, bring out their importance. So basic values, universal in nature, context of civil service. Topic number 3, aptitude and foundational values of civil service. Comes under administrative ethics or behavioral ethics, it comes under both. Distinguish between code of ethics, code of conduct. The key words are present in topic number 7, code of ethics, code of conduct, part of administrative ethics. What is meant by public interest? What are the principles, procedures to be followed by civil servants in public interest? Again, public civil service values. There is a topic known as strengthening of ethical moral values, accountability, ethical governance. It talks about that. It all talks about that. RTI, Right to Information Act. Topic number 7. This is topic number 6. RTI, Right to Information, information sharing and transparency. What is meant by conflict of interest? Difference between actual and potential conflict of interest. So when there's a conflict, you need to look at laws, rules and regulations as sources of ethical guidance. So when there's a conflict of interest, you need to identify what will guide you. That is another solution. So topic number 6. Again, the topic number, question number 6 of 2018, in looking for people to hire, you look for 3 qualities. If they do not have integrity, intelligence and energy, if they do not have the first, the other 2 will kill you. It's question by Warren Buffett. The keyword is integrity. Look at your syllabus, you have the keyword integrity. Topic number 3, administrative ethics or behavioral ethics. You can consider it both. Doing a good thing, everything is permitted which is not prohibited expressly or by clear implication. Examine the statement with the context of a public servant discharging his or her duties. So they say, take the quote, understand the quote. Doing a good thing, everything is permitted. So while you are doing a good thing, you can do anything and everything which is not prohibited expressly or by clear implication. You can do whatever is needed to do a good thing unless it is prohibited specifically, that you can't do this for this. Unless it is said so, if it's for a good thing, you can do whatever is needed. That's what this quote says. So in short, it asks you to employ do what is needed to do good. Emotional intelligence requires a little bit of intelligence. It requires a little bit of intelligence to realize which is good and which is not good. Because unlike the other things which had a discussion on specific values, this is asking you to think around, work it out, see what is needed and what is not needed, see whether it is good or bad and then do it. Emotional intelligence, behavioral ethics, utilities and application, administration and governance, morality of action, morals. One views that means is of paramount importance and the other views that ends justify the means. So in short, it's talking about morals. Topic number 1 of your syllabus, which talks about human values, ethics, talks about that as such. So you can go for this. Again, topic number 1, philosophy. Suppose the government of India is thinking of constructing a dam and inhabited by ethnic communities, what rational policy should it resort to in dealing with unforeseen contingencies? It talks about a situation where the government is building a dam and what should the rational policy be should resort to when faces with unforeseen contingencies. So what are the policies it should be doing? What should be the values that should be framing that policy? Public civil service values, ethical concerns and dilemmas in government and private institution, laws, rules and regulations as source of ethical guidance. That is a point you can always look at. Explain the process of resolving ethical dilemmas in public administration. There is a topic known as laws, rules and regulation as source of ethical guidance, ethical concerns and dilemmas in government. Straightforward question, a really straightforward question. All you have to do is just focus, find the syllabus, learn the content for the syllabus, you got it. So in 2018, there has been a good mix of multiple topics. There is administrative ethics, there is philosophy, there is behavioral ethics. So I can't just say that one is better than the other or one topic has been focused in 2018. There is a good match. Then it's with regards to quotations. There have been 3 quotations which have been asked. One is by Abraham Lincoln, the other is by Mahatma Gandhi and the other is taken from the Tirukkural. So again, contribution of moral thinkers and philosophers from India and the world. Philosophy. 2018 has been a good mix of both, of all the 3 parts, that is administrative ethics, behavioral ethics and also the philosophy part of ethics. Look at the case studies. It puts you in the position of a district level officer and it asks about how would you or how would the primary agent or Rakesh respond to the situation. It's just asking about the response. Rather straightforward question. It gives a scenario. They ask you to how you will respond. How could Rakesh respond to the situation? That's the only thing that's being asked in this. Next question. What will you do? Critically examine the various conflict of interest. Explain what your responsibilities are as a public servant. So 3-part question. Some this is with regards to administrative ethics. This is with regards to behavioral ethics. Straightforward. The last question, 14th question of that, what new approach will you adopt to bring the problem under control? It talks about a place where there is prohibition is in full force. So to overcome the issues created by prohibition, what approach would you use? That is the question being said over here. So there is no specific, specific idea, like it's asked about administrative and behavioral. Because you are placed in the position of administration, but it asks you to look at how the people's behavior can be altered or changed. So there's both a role of both administrative and behavioral ethics. Talks about corporate house, industrial chemicals, and it talks about as a senior officer, you have the responsibility of handling it. How are you going to address it? Looking at the case study, definitively you can say something like this. It talks about administrative ethics and it asks about how you are going to address this. It looks at your behavior. What will be the foundational value that you are using? What will you be using emotional intelligence? You can use all that to write a solution. The last question, question number 16. Head of the tax agency, what course of action will you opt and why? 2 questions. They are asking about what is the action that you will take, and the second part is why you are choosing that. You again have to justify it. Again, administrative ethics, behavioral ethics. What determines your behavior and what is the administrative value that you are following while you are going to make a decision. That's the question which is being asked here. 17th question is with regards to Edward Snowden. Snowden's action were ethically justified even if legally prohibited. So that is the first question. Why or why not is the second question. Make an argument by weighing the competing values. This question is based on the philosophy part of your syllabus, ethics and human interface, topic number 1. In short, over the past 3 years, if you've noticed, 2018 has been a mix and match of all the topics. 19 has focused on administrative ethics and 20 has focused on philosophy part of the syllabus. If you go back, it has again been a mix and match. Conflict of interest in the public sector. When official duties, public interest, personal interest, how can this conflict in administration be resolved? It talks about administration, so automatically it is administrative ethics. Second question, examine the relevance of the following in the context of civil service: transparency, accountability, fairness, courage of conviction, spirit of service, foundational values, administrative ethics. Young people with ethical conduct are not willing to come forward to join active politics. Steps to motivate them. Attitude, because young people with good values are not willing to join politics. So how do we change their attitude towards politics? Behavioral ethics. One of the tests of integrity. Administrative ethics, topic number 3 is complete refusal to be compromised. Explain with reference to a real life example. Examples are very important. Corporate social responsibility makes companies more profitable and sustainable. Analyze. Corporate governance, topic number 6. Everything has its relation with the syllabus. Like word by word, you can take it from the syllabus. You don't have to like think far and find out the link. It's rather straightforward. From topic number 3, this is topic number 2, this is topic number 3, this is topic number 6. It's a code-based question. Great ambition is the passion of a great character. Those endowed with it may perform very good or very bad acts. All depends on the principles which direct them. So stating some examples, mention the rulers who have harmed society and country, who work for the development of society. So it asks about those who work for how their convictions, how their great ambition sometimes helped them or sometimes destroyed them. This is how the question is being asked. Look at it. ethics and human interface. How your determinants and consequences of ethics in human action. Lessons from lives and teachings of great leaders, reformers and administrators. Contribution of moral thinkers and philosophers around the world. So it's a part of the philosophy. Everything is asked from the same topics. So few people have a doubt like, sir, what should I learn as part of this philosophy? There are so many thinkers. Should I learn about them? If you noticed, certain people are coming consistently. Gandhi, Socrates, the rest, Swami Vivekananda. So focus on the major personalities, identify the major ethical theories, and you should be able to write an answer on any philosophical question which is being asked from the ethics question paper. Okay. Next question. If a country is to be corruption free and become a nation of beautiful minds, I strongly feel that there are 3 key societal members who can make a difference. They are father, mother and teacher. APJ Abdul Kalam. And lies. Lessons from lives and teachings of great leaders, reformers and administrators. Role of family, society and educational institution, because it also talks about teacher. And father and mother comes under role of family. Philosophy part of the syllabus. How will you apply emotional intelligence in administrative practice? Emotional intelligence. Strength, peace and security are considered to be the pillars of international relation. International relation, come to this topic, ethical issues in international relations, it's administrative ethics. Everything is straightforward. You don't have to worry at all while preparing for ethics. All you need to know is there is a consistent pattern where there are few questions always asked on philosophy, few questions always asked on administration, few questions always asked on behavioral ethics, and one among that is emotional intelligence. One among that for the philosophy are the code based questions, and there's always a question based on some foundational value of civil service. Prepare like that, you are good to go. Let's look at the next question. Crisis of ethical values in modern times is traced to a narrow perception of the good life. Ethical values in human life, ethics in human actions, consequences of ethics in human action, ethics in private and public relationship, human values. First part of the syllabus, topic number 1 in your syllabus. Increased national wealth did not result in equitable distribution of benefits. It has created only some enclaves of modernity and prosperity for a small minority at the cost of majority. It says, this question is a bit difficult. Why? There is no keyword as such you can take it from this question, because it just talks about modernity and prosperity. So, the question says that the national wealth which has occurred has been relegated to a few, while the rest are left with nothing. So it talks about national wealth. Administration, so it's because there's a fault in administration. So when there is a fault in administration, we can go for administrative ethics. So when you're talking about administrative ethics, you should be looking at how the administration can be improved. So there are some mistakes in the administration, there are some things which need to be reformed in the administration. So you can look at the topic number 7, probity in governance, which is concept of public service, how you can bring utilization of public funds, challenges of corruption. All this can be brought about as part of improving the national wealth. Discipline generally implies following the order and subordination, however it may be counterproductive for the organization. Discuss. It talks about how discipline is needed for any organization to work, but it can also create a problem. So it talks about how the work culture is necessary, citizen charter, work culture, code of ethics, code of conduct, quality of service delivery. It all talks about how a general organization works. So organization and its values are mentioned in topic number 7, probity in governance. You can learn as part of it. Without commonly shared and widely entrenched moral values and obligations, neither the law nor democratic government nor even the market economy will function properly. It says, without moral values and obligations, neither law nor government nor market will function. So it talks about emphasize on the role of morals and values. Morals and values, go to topic number 1, ethics and human interface, human values. Learn that syllabus topic, identify the patterns inside it, you have your answer. It's a case study. So based upon Question number two, the question paper of 2017, few questions on administrative and behavioral ethics, few questions on philosophy majorly, and again on administrative ethics. So I can say that there is always at least 1 or 2 questions from ethics and human interface. There is at least 1 or 2 questions from probity in governance. And there is always a question in every question paper with regards to emotional intelligence, always. So understanding that is very, very important, because now you know that there is always a question on emotional intelligence, there is always a question from that. Prepare well on those topics, definitely you will get marks. Emotional intelligence is a very small topic, you can easily learn it, you can easily score marks in that. You are an honest and responsible civil servant, it's a case study. Examine the above statements with their merits and demerits. Quite easy. Look at the statements, find the answer. Aspiring to become an IAS officer, and they are putting you in a situation, and what will you do in that situation? You have to justify your action. Then they ask again for your recommendation, merits, demerits of your action. Again a straightforward question. Merit, demerit in the first case study, in the third case study, and they are either asking for your response. Again, what will be your response? Dilemmas you face, measures to prevent their occurrence, give reasons for why such incidents are taking place. Go for this. The 18th question, merits, demerits. So it talks about the merits and demerits and how you can separate genuine and non-genuine application. In short, your response and merits and demerits. 2016 question. Let's look at it. How ethics contribute to social and human well-being. So topic number 1 of ethics, impartiality, non-partisanship considered as foundational values of public service, foundational values of civil service. Impartiality, non-partisanship. What do you understand by the term good governance, ethical governance and normal governance? So ethical governance, accountability, you can tell about that. Ethical moral values in governance, everything is straightforward. Mahatma Gandhi's concept of 7 sins. So people did not know about this very much, but if you look at the pattern, Mahatma Gandhi is a very frequently asked personality in ethics. So obviously you should be preparing about Gandhi while talking about contribution of moral thinkers and philosophers from India and the world, and lessons from the lives and teachings of great leaders, reformers and administrators. Straightforward question again. John Rawls' concept of social justice. Again, what we mean by contribution of moral thinkers and philosophers from India and around the world. So John Rawls is very famous for his contribution of justice ethics. So you can read about that when you think about, when you prepare for the contribution part, that is topic number 5 of your ethics syllabus. Again, discuss public service code as recommended by the second ARC. This is based on current affair questions, the second ARC, not the second ARC. They were talking about the public services bill and everything. So public service code, you can talk about what is the public civil service values, how you can bring accountability and ethical governance, how you can strengthen ethical and moral values in governance, and all this comes under the public service code. So you can prepare on the second ARC too. Corruption. Corruption causes misuse of government in path of national development, and it specifically asks about Kautilya's views. It's not just corruption, it asks about Kautilya's view. So contribution of moral thinkers and philosophers from India and around the world, lessons from the lives and teachings of great leaders, reformers and administrators. Kautilya, also known as Chanakya, was the prime minister of Chandragupta Maurya during the Mauryan dynasty. So he was one of the foremost political thinkers of ancient India. So they ask about corruption from the perspective of Kautilya. Again, how would social influence and persuasion contribute to success of Swachh Bharat Abhiyan? In the topic of attitude, you have a topic question known as, subtopic known as social influence and persuasion, behavioral ethics. Law and ethics are considered to be 2 tools for controlling human conduct so as to make them civilized social existence. How you can discuss how they achieve this objective. Ethics, consequences of ethics, determinants of ethics. How you civilize society with law and ethics. Our attitude towards look at the question number 10. Identify the keyword undesirable values present in today's educated Indians. You can talk about values. Then how can such undesirable attitudes be changed and socio-ethical values be considered necessary in public service to be cultivated and aspiring in civil servants. So you can also add the topic of attitude. Topic number 2. You can change that too. Finally, anger is a harmful negative emotion. It's a negative value. So the negative value has to be changed to a positive value. So changing of values is attitude. Then emotional intelligence is also playing a key role. You come to personal life, work life, how it leads to negative emotions, undesirable behaviors. How can it be managed and controlled? You need emotional intelligence to manage your anger and control it. So again, there's a change in attitude needed, there's a change in emotional intelligence. You should bring on the angle of emotional intelligence. Max Weber said that it is not wise to apply to public administration the sort of moral and ethical norms. Whatever it is, it talks about a specific personality who is Max Weber. Contribution of moral thinkers and philosophers from India and the world. It gives a statement of Max Weber and asks you to critically analyze it. So again, whatever it is, if you look at it, it talks about moral, ethical norms, personal conscience, and how that the bureaucracy might possess its own independent bureaucratic morality. Looking at all these questions, and as we go, the initial questions I took some time to explain it, but as and when you go back, you realize that they are all hitting the same consistent points again and again. There's always a question on morals and ethics. There's always a question on emotional intelligence. There's always a question on question from Gandhi, or there's always a question from some famous Indian philosopher like Swami Vivekananda, or sometimes from the Tirukkural, or sometimes from APJ Abdul Kalam. It's always like this. So learning this, having this understanding is very important for writing the ethics question. So this is a case study. It asks about what arguments you can advance, that's question number 1, and what is the course of action to take, that is question number 2, and why you would suggest that, that is question number 3. And the next case study talks about how you would approach the problem, what is the approach to the problem, and what are the main elements. 2 demands for the question. When you are writing case studies, identify the number of questions and then write them. So there has never been a case study where there has been just one question being asked. It's always 2 or 3, majorly 3. Here in this case study, think of a rational way to resolve the dilemma, and they ask for the reasons. It's question number 16. Ignore thinking about it because they ask you to analyze each option, and they given the 3 options by themselves. Again, they've given 3 options and they ask you to analyze it. So automatically you have to address 3 parts of the question which they themselves have given, and you have to give your analysis of it. Then question number 17 talks about the first one. A, identify the issues involved. B, what can be suggested to satisfy the company's goal. And the third question also to address the residents' concern. So there are 1, 2 and 3 questions. Question number 18. Measures to suggest that due control is exercised but well-meaning, honest NGO efforts are not thwarted. So there are 2 parts to this question. 2 parts to this question. Understand that, realize that, you got your answer. Question paper of 2015. What is meant by environmental ethics? Why it is important to study? Discuss any one environmental issue in the viewpoint of environmental ethics. You can talk about the determinants, consequences of ethics in human action, and also the dimension of ethics. The various parts of ethics, again the angle has always been ethics. Topic number 1, differentiate between law and ethics, ethical management, discrimination, preferential treatment, personal and professional ethics. Comes to determinants and consequences of ethics, dimensions of ethics. 2 quotations. The weak can never forgive. Forgiveness is the attribute of the strong. We can easily forgive a child who is afraid of the dark. The real tragedy of life is when men are afraid of the light. 2 quotes from famous philosophers. So they mentioned it's from moral thinkers and philosophers, so automatically, so moral thinkers and philosophers. Mere compliance with law is not enough. Public servant has to have a well-developed sensibility to ethical issues to effective discharge of duties. Explain when it is ethical right but not legally, and when an act is legally right but not ethically. So they are asking about that. you need to know what are the foundational values of civil service, because they are asking you how a person can make a judgment. So based upon the foundational values, you can give your answer. How do the virtues of trustworthiness and fortitude get manifested in public service? Administrative ethics. Social values are more important than economic values. In context of inclusive growth of a nation, they are asking how social values are very important to the growth of a nation. So you can say, take it from the lessons of lives or teachings of great leaders, or you can talk about how role of family, society and educational institution inculcating values will give returns which are not only good for the country in the economic term, but more importantly, they are good for the country in the social level. That is important. Some recent developments such as introduction of RTI, Media and Judicial Activism are proving helpful in bringing about greater transparency and accountability, and certain times they are misused. Analyze the situation, suggest how the dichotomy can be reversed. So in short, RTI, transparency in government, information sharing. That's again topic number 7 in your syllabus. Two different kinds of attitudes exhibited by public servants, and that is the bureaucratic attitude and the democratic attitude. Distinguish between them, write their merits, demerits, how to balance them and create a better administration. So it's attitude again, and you can also talk about how the foundational values help in determining what is a bureaucratic attitude and a democratic attitude. You can say how these values are very important to change the existing democratic attitude towards a much more existing bureaucratic attitude towards a much more democratic attitude. Understanding is very important. Understand the syllabus, because once you know that the syllabus, the content in the syllabus is available, you have your answers directly. Next question. Setting up Vigilance Commission, RTA, active media and legal mechanism, corrupt practices are not coming under control. So in short, it is talking about corruption. And if you are talking about RTA and everything, you already have that as part of the same topic. Topic number 7. Next question. At the international level, bilateral relations between most nations are governed on promoting one's own national interest. How can ethical consideration help resolve such issues? In short, ethical issues in international relations and funding. Each and every question has a direct correlation with what is there in the syllabus. Public servants are likely to be confronted with the issues of conflict of interest. And what is conflict of interest? How does it manifest? How do you, if faced with it, how would you solve it? That is the question being said. You can talk about public civil service values, ethics in public administration, ethical concerns and dilemmas in government, topic number 6 of your ethics syllabus. Taken directly from it, how you can handle the ethical concern and dilemma which is present in your administration or in your personal choice. Again, the case study. Then the first question is, what would you do to diffuse the situation? The second is, what are the long-term solution? And third is, you'll have a negative and positive impact, so they want you to analyze it. 3 questions in the first case study. The second case study, there are 2 questions. The third case study, identify the actions, evaluate the pros and cons, merits, demerits, 2 questions. Then what would be the order to rescue the people, give justifications. So it's a disaster situation, they are asking you how you will, what is the order that you will be saving the people. Then they list the likely vested interest, that is 1 question. They've given some options. They want you to discuss the merit and demerit of it, and finally they can ask for other options, and you can give the justification if you are choosing any other option. In short, 3 questions again for this case study. For the case study number 17 of 2015, they've asked for what are the steps you would take for ensuring the girl safety. How would you manage and mold the patriarchy attitude of the village elders? Question number 2 of this case study. And in short, again, from what we've seen, every case study has 2 to 3 questions. Majority has always been 3 questions. So prepare for 3 questions. You have 15 minutes. Keep ideally 15 minutes for each case study, and you should be good to go for each and every one of them. Let's look at the last before question paper of 2014. all human beings aspire for happiness. Do you agree? What does happiness mean to you? So it's with regards to your attitude towards happiness. Ethics seeks to promote in human life. Why is it all the more important? Public administration. Ethics in public administration. Context of defense services. Patriotism demands readiness to lay down one's life in protecting the nation. What does patriotism imply in everyday civil life? You can say what it means. The attitude. Probity. Probity in governance. Integrity. Integrity. Keywords. Everything has been, again, you go for these questions, they have keywords in them. Human beings should always be treated as ends in themselves and never as means. Philosophy. Determinants, consequences of ethics, dimensions of ethics. Utilitarian ethics, teleological ethics, deontological ethics. You will be learning about the various philosophies of ethics, and you would have learned them as part of the philosophy part. That's all that matters. Eminent personality. So automatically contribution of moral thinkers and philosophers. Give specific examples and how you've been able to apply their teachings for your own ethical development. Ethical responsibility on civil servants, because they occupy positions of power. They have a wide-ranging impact. What steps have you taken to improve your ethical competence? So since civil servants are placed in positions of power, what is the kind of steps they have taken forward? So you can say you accepted the foundational values of civil service. Once you know that, you can do it. You can also talk about the public civil service values and the ethics that has been a part of public administration, how that is very crucial in making sure that the ethics of a civil servant is always maintained. There's a problem of trust deficit, consequences of the situation for personal well-being and for social well-being. What can you do at the personal level to make yourself trustworthy? So it's asking about an individual, how you can make yourself trustworthy. So you can look at the role of family, society, institutions, and how human values. You can learn from others, you can learn from good leaders to improve your trustworthiness, or you can talk about attitude, how you can change your attitude to bring this, or how you can change the attitude of people, not your own but other people. That is also one more angle you can think about. Poverty leads to corruption. So corruption, we have this already. Attitude towards social problems. Contrasting attitudes are prevalent about many social problems. What contrasting attitudes about the caste system? How do you explain the existence of this contrasting attitude? So it's asking about the various contrasting attitude which is regards to the caste system. So it's because of our human values that we have, and you can talk about the human values. You can also talk about attitude. It's because we have certain values, certain morals which have fostered the idea of caste system in our country, and to change it requires a change in attitude. What does accountability mean? There's again a question in the syllabus. Accountability is there. Sexual violence against women in the country, and despite existing legal provisions, the number of incidences is increasing. Suggest measures to tackle this issue. So obviously they are talking about measures, but mainly it is happening because of a lack of ethics, the lack of the disregard for rules and regulations. So human values, the role of family, society and educational institution in inculcating them is very important. And there's a talk about environmental degradation. You need to discuss about how you can eliminate the conflict between development and environment. So it's a case study question, straightforward. Ethical dilemmas, you can go with that. The next case study, it talks about while it talks about just one point, that is discuss some feasible strategies, and it's a very old question paper, 2014. The 15th question, it talks about what is wrong in adopting such practices. Second, critically analyze it. Third, what will be your advice? 3 parts to this case study. The next case study, 1, 2, they are giving the various options, and then they want you to evaluate all of them and suggest the best course. So while evaluating all of them, you have to give the merits and demerits. Look at the next question for the case study again. What are the arguments? What could be the arguments? And what are the main, could there be any better way to get out of this dilemma, and main elements. So they are asking about the argument, ways to get out of the dilemma, And what are the main elements of this third way which you are using to get out of this dilemma? If so, outline the main elements of this third way, pointing out its merits. Again, merit, demerit, various parts. 1, 2 questions. So again, this is with regards to how Rameshwar asks about the various options, and you have to give the various options, and you have to evaluate the options and choose the most appropriate path. Merits, demerits. 19th question, last question, talks about why educated youth are trying to shift to urban areas, why there are landless poor are migrating to urban slums, and they are asking about the feasible steps you can suggest which will be effective in controlling all these 3 issues. In short, you have to talk about 3 questions and you have to give the answers for that. We are coming to the last question paper and the oldest question paper, the first ethics question paper. So generally questions have not been asked in this format of 2014 and 13, but still we look at it. You can look at the early parts of the question paper to the recent question papers to know the general pattern which is being followed right now. So what do you understand by values and ethics? Straightforward from the syllabus. Human values, ethics. What do you understand by the following terms? Integrity, perseverance, spirit of service, commitment, courage of conviction. Foundational values, integrity and other values, you can talk about it. 2 more attributes which are important for public service. Foundational values, you can talk about certain foundational values. Values keep changing with time. Others believe that there are certain universal and eternal human values. In short, talks about human values. Again, what is emotional intelligence? Emotional intelligence. Voice of conscience, how do you prepare yourself? Again, emotional intelligence. Crisis of conscience, emotional intelligence. 3 quotations, Abraham Lincoln, Aristotle and Mahatma Gandhi. This is Mahatma Gandhi, this is Abraham Lincoln, this is Aristotle. So, philosophy, contribution of moral thinkers. Gandhi has always been asked. Good of an individual is contained in the good of all. What do you understand by this statement? Principle to be implemented in public life. So, automatically public civil service values, ethics in public administration. How you can? Good of an individual is contained in the good of all. What do you understand by this statement? So, you can talk about how there is accountability and ethical governance, strengthening of ethical and moral values in governance. It's an old question paper. What is often said that politics and ethics do not go together. What is your opinion? So, justify your answer. You need to justify your answer. So, obviously, you can talk about attitude, how you can justify that the political attitude and the ethical attitude do not go hand in hand, or you can say that, or you should be saying that they can go hand in hand. You just have to change your attitude about it, and definitely you can take your political and your ethics together. So, it's with regards to a case study. It asks about there are 4 options given, and they ask you to choose the correct option and you have to give reasons. That is merits and demerits for each option. The next case study, evaluate the merits and demerits of each option. So 5 questions, again you have to evaluate the merits and demerits. Talks about the next question. Here it asks you to write the options by yourself and then evaluate the options and choose the option and give reasons for it. So again, merit, demerit. And with that, if you look at it, in short, our analysis is done. For the theory part, I can say that you should be focusing on the emotional intelligence part, you should be focusing on the probity in governance part, and you should be focusing on the ethics and human values part, because there have been consistently questions asked always from probity, emotional intelligence and ethics. So if you can prepare well on it, you can guarantee at least 5 to 6 questions. The rest you should be learning. Case studies, always there's a question on merits and demerits, and always there are 2 or 3 questions on each and every case study. So understanding this, practicing that with practicing the answers by making sure that you have enough examples should be good enough for you to ace the ethics question paper. And looking at the trend, if you leave the initial years, every year there has been for the 2019 and 20, there has been a bent towards certain topics. In 2019 it was towards administrative ethics, 2020 it's been towards the philosophy. Maybe in 2021 it could be about behavioral ethics as such. But again, UPSC is unpredictable, so to be on the safer side, prepare on these major topics of each portion. From behavioral ethics, you can prepare on emotional intelligence. From philosophy, you can always prepare on ethics and human interface. And on the administrative ethics part, you can always prepare on probity and governance. That is guaranteed to be a question from each of these topics every year. And on case studies, prepare on ethical issues. Also prepare to answer for at least 2 or 3 questions and the merits and demerits of each option, because that is how generally they have been asked. So with this, we are concluding the trend analysis video. My name is Sibi Joy and I am signing off. Thank you for watching this video. Happy learning. Take care. Bye.